if it was in place much sooner, that would have been better, not even necessarily 18 months ago, or not necessarily even at the start of the pandemic, even before people were struggling. So, as a result of austerity. So I would say the gaps that people have identified, where people haven't been supported by things like furlough, by things like the £20 universal credit uplift. I think that pretty much is the strongest argument for universal basic income. The things that Chris mentioned, I would say that is an argument for tackling those issues. So tackling, nationalization of services or regulation of things like rent and so on, and putting a bit more of a sort of getting a tighter grasp of that, so that people, aren't exploited, so that ordinary people who do pay rent and so on aren't exploited by by landlords and by utility companies and so on. So I think that needs to be done. However, I don't think that the way that people are struggling, that we can afford really to wait until all these things are fixed before we bring in universal credit income. So for instance, disabled people who are on legacy benefits have not benefited from the £20 universal credit uplift. So that kind of thing really, who is going to speak up for them then, and where do they go? How are we kind of looking out for their well-being? Also, again, people who are feeling pressured, people who are on casual and 0 hours contracts and so on. I said a while ago that it's always been sort of a two-tier lockdown in this country, in the sense that people who are wealthy enough or who are in jobs who are able to work from home, they can shield themselves from the virus. But the people who don't have a choice, people who do have to go into work, people who are in warehouses and factories and working construction jobs, because for some reason this government still thinks of construction as an essential service. All of these people don't have the option of staying home, of working from home, again, even with sick pay, they don't have that safety net. So even if they are not feeling well, they have to go in. They have to take public transport, which again increases your exposure to other people, which is, so all of this to say that we need to think about the people who are being left behind and who haven't been covered by all of the provision that's being made so far economically. All of the people who have fallen through the gaps, with the schemes that have already been put into place. And there are a lot of people who have fallen through those gaps, and no one is thinking about them. And they cannot really afford to wait until everything is nationalized, So I think in that sense, that's probably, these people are the strongest argument for why now, if not sort of 18 months ago or whenever, is the right time for a universal basic income to be brought in place.